Does he bother? And so many times people would have felt, if only God knew what I am going through. But nobody can accuse God like Jesus like that. We have got so many religious leaders. We have got so many gurus. We have got so many great people who have influenced society by their teachings, by their offerings, everything, by their prayers. But tell me one person who has gone through this spectrum, whole spectrum of human tragedy, right from his birth. Actually, at his birth itself, we think Jesus was born. Birth always brings good tidings. Any home will be happy when a child is born. But you must understand, a child is the most vulnerable, at least potentially vulnerable living being in this world. Because a child can't do anything. In the town that I live, the nearest town, that is called Coimbatore, it's one of the big cities in South India. Quite often we hear that some parents will throw their child in the garbage box and go after the delivery. It's not a very uncommon news. When they don't want a child, they just throw it in a garbage and go. When somebody throws a child in the garbage, can the child ring 100 or call the police? Nothing. It just goes to the garbage. Most helpless. And for everything, somebody has to do it. And we are all okay, human beings. We can go through that process. But imagine God, the creator of the universe, putting himself in that position. Imagine Jesus as a child. Even for his diaper to change, Mary has to do that. Otherwise he remains there. Somebody has to feed. Mary has to feed him. He put himself in such a position that if he said, Lord, I am helpless, Jesus can reply, I was also like that. Though child, I was God, but still I didn't do anything of myself. I was in a most helpless position. Right from that time, down to his triumphant cry on the cross, if there is one word that summarizes Jesus' life is experience in sufferings. He voluntarily went through poverty. He allowed himself to be abused. He was a victim of rejection by his own family. He suffered physical pain, tiredness, and he was excommunicated by his religious leaders of the day, excommunicated from his house. He was thought insane by his own brethren. You know, any tragedy you can tell that can occur in human life, Jesus had gone through. And he came for that. Why? Because his mission to this world was, I'm not just here to spread fragrance to only Palestine. I had to go through my sacrifice has to touch each and everyone in the whole world. And after 3.5 years, convincing everybody that he had absolutely nothing, no flaw in his character. You know, take his holiness. So many times we hear about God's people or God men or God women, and after some time we get all reports about their flaws in their character. But when Jesus lived, he set a high standard of holiness. He said, if a man looks at a woman lustfully in his heart, he has already committed adultery. He said, you need not kill a person. You call your brother a fool, you are in danger of hellfire. You know, he set holiness, the standard of holiness set by Jesus was so high. And after all, what do you expect from God? The standard of holiness. That's why I tell people, if you're really looking for a God, you have to be sure whether the God at whose feet you are falling is worthy of your worship. We do that often, isn't it? When we want to put our children in the school, probably in the kindergarten school, we don't say, oh, after kindergarten, anywhere you can study. We don't know. We just go on asking, school, okay, buildings, okay, teachers, okay, what is the result and how is the standard, how they are being taught, what are the recreation facilities. 100 questions we ask before you put the child in the kindergarten school. Right, we must do that. You must come to hospital, Sometimes people come to the hospital and go on asking questions. Who is the doctor? Has he gone abroad? Has he got a postgraduate degree? Has he treated patients like that? Who is the nurse? What are the facilities? And finally they will show some small boil on their head. For showing that small boil, 100 questions. Good, do it. But if you are so careful, before you fall on somebody's feet and say, God, is it wrong to assess whether he is worthy of our worship? If the gods at whose feet we fall have less standards of holiness, what are we gaining by falling at such large feet? You don't give tuition, you don't send your children for a tuition, a 8th grade student, to a teacher who has studied only 5th grade. We don't do that. But when it comes to a question of falling at the feet of the Lord, so many people don't look at any of these things. My grandfather fell, so I will also fall. Nothing more than that. But go home, do a small homework, write in a piece of paper the qualities that you like to see in a God whom you worship. Love, compassion, purity, availability, understands your suffering. You write all that you like to expect in a God whom you worship, and the only God you will come to is Jesus Christ. It's a challenge. It's Jesus Christ. So Jesus stood 3 years before the public. He said, examine every petal of my life. Just like as the rose was being examined, petal by petal, petal by petal, Jesus was giving time to examine his life completely. And even the fellow Pilate, who is supposed to judge him, he said, I find no fault in him. Ultimate authority. And then Jesus said, I am ready now. I have passed all the tests. Now you can take me. I am going to fulfill my mission. Now if I have to spread my fragrance all over this universe, everyone born in this world has to get benefited. My ministry should not be restricted to this 200 miles of Palestine. It has to go through the entire universe. And for that, I have to go through a process. If I remain like a rose, 3.5 years I have taught, maybe it will be a good teaching for some people. Some people can remember me for some time and then forget me. No, I have to be remembered as long as the humanity lasts. And he said, now I am ready, take me. And when people came to take him, this rose, full-blown, unique, gone through severe testing, criticized by everybody, examined by everybody, and proved fine, fit for the sacrifice. This rose comes and offers itself in the hands of its malefactors. And now the process starts. As they removed petal after petal, people now question him, people now falsely accuse him, people manhandle him, abuse him, and he went through the process of a physical torture, which reminds me that the rose that went through all that crushing machines. It has to. If it has to become a perfume, it has to. So when Jesus was being manhandled, beaten, whiplashed, everything was done, he was going through the process of crushing. Most of you might have seen the film Passion of Christ. One of my friends who saw the film asked me, do you believe that? I asked, what? See, the fellows were beating him, and the Roman soldiers, the whip, they had all sorts of thorns, iron, a needle, and sharp objects, and when they whiplash him, sometimes it gets stuck on his ribs, and they just, pluck it out with all the bones, muscle. How do you expect him to live the next day to carry the cross? That was his question. He said, even the person with the best physique would have died within a half an hour of such a cruel treatment. But how do you believe that next day he walked with a cross on his shoulder?